Another week has passed and Carson Wentz is still a Philadelphia Eagle. Now, wherever he goes, wherever he winds up, could that team possibly be turned into a Super Bowl contender? Well, one ESPN analyst thinks so. We'll talk about all that and more coming up next.
On the face of Bart Scott amuses me. What are you thinking there?
I mean, I know Wentz hasn't had the best season last year, but come on, Mitchell Trubisky, this is a great upgrade. You think about what he was. He's a guy that was sacked 50 times. We saw Patrick Mahomes become a mere mortal when he didn't have protection. But that's exactly what Carson Wentz had to endure in Philadelphia. This is a team that got old, went all in for a championship. They won the championship, and everybody around him got old, and the pieces got old around him. I mean, he's trying to throw to Deshaun Watson, who's like a Ferrari. Yeah, it's beautiful, but the check engine light's always on. You know, so you think about if he goes to Chicago, that makes Chicago, I believe, a Super Bowl contender.
Can you repeat that? You believe that Carson Wentz on the Bears makes the Bears a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah, or the Colts as well, because you just think about, what Carson Wentz looks like when he's able to improvise those off-schedule plays. You think about giving him protection. This is a man that was sacked 50 times. This is because he has nobody to throw to. I mean, he had no protection, and he had an average run game.
Ladies and gentlemen, the torture, the torment continues. I'm going to start to get a counter for these videos to count the days of absolute torture this Carson Wentz saga has brought on myself and other Eagles fans. I'm sure can agree. This has just been horrible. It feels like it's been 500 days of this. I think it's maybe only been 15. I thought Carson Wentz would have been dealt shortly after the Super Bowl. He is still here. I got to be honest, I probably would rather be waterboarded than have to deal with this much longer. But here we are with another Carson Wentz video. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wilde. This is Bar 4133, and welcome back to another edition of the Eagles News Now podcast. Now, the man responsible for one of the most iconic post-game interviews of all time, Mr. Bart Scott, former Jets linebacker. Look, that iconic interview I'm talking about has turned 10 years old. It's insane. And, of course, I'm talking about after the Jets defeated the Patriots in the divisional round of the playoffs. They would go on to lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. But Bart Scott was so amped up, so hyped up, and, of course, he ended it with can't wait and ended up trademarking that phrase, can't wait, as he couldn't wait to face the Steelers. But, again, they lost, and it's actually the last time that the Jets won a playoff game. He goes on ESPN today and says that if the Chicago Bears or the Indianapolis Colts, but he was talking more about the Bears, were to get Carson Wentz in a trade, that would immediately make them Super Bowl contenders. He goes on to say, as you heard or read, he goes on to say, and I'm sorry because this is hilarious to me, that give Carson Wentz some protection and some receivers to throw to, and he's a huge upgrade over Mitchell Trubisky, and can take the Bears to the Super Bowl. Now, while I agree he is an upgrade over Mitchell Trubisky, there are some reasons why I find Bart Scott's comments laughable. Now, let's go through it. Number one, you're going to be getting Carson Wentz. Who knows if you're going to be getting 2020 Carson Wentz or you're going to be getting 2017 Carson Wentz. A lot has to go into play to get 2017 Carson Wentz, and that's why he has not been traded yet, obviously. Also, you want to talk about the protection. Obviously, Bart Scott has not watched many Chicago Bears games, and look, I haven't either, but just through a little bit of research and film watching can tell you that the Chicago Bears offensive line was horrible. It was atrocious. It was almost bad as the Eagles. Now, look, the Eagles went through 15 different variations, and Chicago Bears fans that are watching this, I'm not trying to trash you guys' team. Trust me, I'm representing a 4-12 football team right now that was lucky to, and I'm adding that tie in there, but that was lucky to even win any games as bad as they were, okay? So I'm not going out of my way to trash your franchise whatsoever, but let's call it, it is what it is. The line was bad, and look, after this year and Allen Robinson looks like he's going to be playing elsewhere, who else do the Bears have to throw to? I mean, they got a good running back in David Montgomery, but what else is there as far as offense for the Bears. And they have a great defense. Don't get me wrong on that. They have a great defense, and we saw in this league that defenses can push their teams throughout the playoffs. But it would take a miracle for Carson Wentz to join the Bears and for them to get to a Super Bowl with the way their team is now. That's just, I mean, again. And these guys from ESPN, they spout these hot takes nonstop. Max Kellerman, after Nick Foles got there and the Bears went on that 4-1 ride, said that Nick Foles don't count the Bears out of the Super Bowl in 2020 with Nick Foles. So I mean, you just can't believe a lot of the things these guys say. I understand that because there's not any new information out there, that's what you're going to get are these hot takes. Now, if Carson Wentz joins the Colts again, I'm not sure who he would really have to throw to on the Colts. You know, again, we're still looking at free agency and the draft can happen. The Colts have a great coaching staff, a great run game. So I could see that possibly happening, but I don't know. Again, that's a stretch too. And again, you're basically banking that Carson Wentz is not going to be the player he was in 2020. Again, you talk about the pressure that Bart Scott does. And there was a lot of pressure. He was sacked 50 times. I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm not going to be able to twist that stat at all. He was hit a lot. But you look at the lowest percentage of accurate passes thrown from a clean pocket with no pressure in 2020. Carson Wentz was ranked number 32, dead last of starting quarterbacks. Ahead of him was actually Mitchell Trubisky and Sam Darnold, which should tell you something there. Also, we're talking about clean pockets, okay? When Carson Wentz was kept clean, and we're talking about his interceptions now, all right? This is the worst stat you want as a quarterback. You don't want to throw interceptions, right? So, under pressure, Carson Wentz threw 5 interceptions. When the pocket's kept clean, and this is what's unbelievable to me, and this is one of the things, and I've said this in every video I've talked about Carson, I was a big Carson Wentz guy, you know, and who wouldn't be after some of the things he'd done in 19, in 18, and obviously in 17. But one of the things that made me think there's something not right with this dude is watching the decisions he made when he was kept clean, when the pocket was clean. And under a clean pocket, Carson Wentz threw 10 interceptions. 10. That's 10-5. It's just, to me, it shows that there's just something not right there. So when you use he was constantly under pressure excuse, it's just an excuse that you can't use when you look at the numbers when he's kept clean. Again, being hit 50 times does not help things. Obviously, some of these stats can be skewed because, look, he might have threw an interception in a clean pocket after getting rocked and sacked the play before. So, again, keep that in mind. But I don't see it. I don't see how Carson Wentz makes either the Colts or the Bears an instant Super Bowl contender. And if that was true, you would have to think that this trade would already be done with. Now, I truly, truly believe that Howie Roseman is going to blunder this thing. He's going to mess this thing up. He's trying to save face right now. But if Carson Wentz was still that kind of quarterback that could completely change a franchise around, and I'm not saying that he won't because anything can happen, but I'm going by what I just saw in 2020, if that was the case, he would already been traded by now. He would absolutely already be traded by now. So that's all I got for you guys. Bart Scott thinks that Carson Wentz can make the Chicago Bears or the Indianapolis Colts Super Bowl contenders. What do you think? Leave your comments. Let's discuss it. I'm hoping to do a live feed later on in the week where we discuss all this stuff. And hopefully, Carson Wentz gets traded at some point this week. I, for one, can't wait. Sorry, had to do it. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds. I'll see you later.
Congratulations. See you in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait.
Back to you.
E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
I need Eagle Nation to stand